We all know scammers using fake profiles eventually will ask for money or other goods, oftentimes coming up with an excuse as to why they need the money or iTunes cards, gift cards, etc. Today, we take a look at some of the professions that scammers say their fake profiles do for a living and the excuses that coincide with their fake profession. For fake soldier profile excuses, scammers often say they've lost their gun, ammo, or grenades and need to pay for their lost items. The truth is, real soldiers don't pay for lost guns, ammunition, or other goods. They also don't pay for their clothing, boots, or any other things that they need while deployed, peacekeeping, or in a war zone. They have no food, they're starving. Often, scammers using fake soldier profiles will say that they're in the Army or the Marines, the Navy, and that they haven't been fed, they're starving, and they have no money for food. The truth is, real men and women enlisted in the military are fed 3 times a day and given snacks, water, juices, whatever they need while deployed as well as in the war zone and while peacekeeping. Soldiers are not going hungry while deployed. Pay for my leave. Often, scammers will say that you need to pay for the soldier's leave before he can come home to see you. The truth is, real military men and women do not pay for a leave. You also do not pay for their leave. You will also not contact their commander or any branch or division of the military to request a soldier's leave. None of that is done through a civilian, and no one pays for a leave. Marriage documents. Oftentimes, scammers using fake military profiles will say they're going to marry you, but you have to apply for the marriage document or certificate, and there's always a fee associated. The truth is, it's not how it works. Marriage documents are not done through the military for a fee. If you're talking to someone who wants to marry you and you've never met them, question it. If they ask for money for documentation for a marriage or some kind of marriage certificate for the military, you are talking to a scammer. Pay for calling cards and iTunes cards to continue talking or to call you. Many scammers will say that they're in the war zone or peacekeeping out in the camp and that you need to pay for a special military calling card. Oftentimes these so-called calling cards are in excess of $500 to $1,000. The truth is, military men and women deployed can and do call loved ones, and they do video chat with loved ones while overseas or while serving. It does not cost you any money, and you do not have to send money to a soldier in order for him or her to call you or video chat you. Medical treatment. Scammers using fake soldier profiles often say that they've been injured while in war, they've been shot, they're sick, and they need medical treatment, but they need to pay first. They also say that their child has fallen sick and they need money for medical treatment or the doctor won't treat them. The truth is, military men and women, while deployed, are always taken care of medically. If they need medicine, surgery, any kind of treatment, it is covered and paid for by the military. Also, when soldiers and their children get sick or their spouses, they're covered by TRICARE. A doctor does not need you to send payment prior to a soldier getting medical treatment. If you are talking to a military profile online and they tell you they need money for any of these reasons, you are 100% speaking to a scammer. Also, military men and women deployed have access to their bank account. Oftentimes, many military men and women use a military-based credit union or bank. They always have access to their bank account, and their funds are never frozen. Their paychecks are never on hold because of a deployment. Oil rig engineer excuses. Dear, my equipment has broken. I need you to send money for a broken pipeline or a part for my oil rig. This is often an excuse used by scammers who are pretending to work on an oil rig. The truth is, real oil rig workers, managers, and foremen are covered for all broken parts or all busted pipelines. These oil companies have billions of dollars and they're insured and covered. If a part happens to break while on an oil rig, most times it is flown out to the site at no cost to the foreman or the oil rig worker. Injured workers. Dear, all of my men were injured and they're requiring payment. I'll get in trouble. I'll get arrested if you don't help me pay for these injured workers. Again, major oil companies are highly insured and all of their workers are insured. Should there be an injury while on an oil rig that requires that person to be life flighted out to a hospital, the oil companies pay for it. The insurance pays for it. You do not need to send money in order to get your man who's working on an oil rig taken to a hospital. Sea pirates. Dear, I'm working on an oil rig and sea pirates are coming. They're going to take everything. We've been robbed and I need to send you my documents. Well, yes, there are pirates who do operate in some parts of the world. The reality is, most oil rig workers are very safe, and those on oil tankers and ships are often very safe. If someone is being attacked by sea pirates, the last thing they're going to do is be on social media talking to someone they've never met and wanting to send documents. Job replacement. I want to come and see you, dear, but you have to pay for my replacement. I can't leave the oil rig until my replacement has been paid for. The truth is, oil rig workers, while they do work on contract, and they can be on an oil rig anywhere from 14 to 30 days, they do not have to pay for their job replacement. If they need to take a leave, they are able to do so, but they do not need you to pay for a so-called replacement. I want to come and see you, dear, but I need to break my contract. As stated before, oil rig workers and engineers often are on an employment contract. However, they don't need you to pay any money to break a contract, and no legitimate oil company will require their workers to pay money to leave or break a contract. I have a sick child back home. I'm stuck on the oil rig and I cannot access my bank account. Again, men and women who work on ships, oil tankers, and oil rigs always have access to their bank account. Their money is never held hostage. It's never being held till a contract finishes. Oil rig workers get paid just like any other person, normally every 2 weeks or once a month. Their bank accounts and their money is completely accessible. Are you talking to a doctor online? Let's Have you met a doctor on social media or on a dating site? We take a look at some of the popular excuses that scammers use when they pretend to be doctors online. Working abroad, need money for medicine. Oftentimes, scammers will say that they're a doctor working in a place like Afghanistan, Syria, or even West Africa and claim that they need money for medicine to treat the sick. The truth is, real doctors who work in overseas countries and third world countries, such as the Doctors Without Borders, have all the supplies they need. They have the medicine and the equipment. They do not need you to send money for any reason. Pay for my flight. I'm on a contract. Oftentimes, scammers will say they're treating patients in a third world country, and they need you to pay for their flight so they can come home and see you because they're on contract. While some doctors do sign contracts that they'll work for so many weeks or months overseas, everything is covered through the charitable organization. They do not need you to pay for a flight to come home. Attacked while working, need help getting home. Oftentimes, scammers will say that they're working in a place such as Nigeria, Syria, or Afghanistan, and that they were robbed or attacked by rebels or some other terrorist group, or that they were just simply held at gunpoint and robbed, and they need your help to get home. The truth is, doctors who work in third world countries for various charitable organizations are covered with a security team. Oftentimes they have their own equipment and everything they need. If anything happens or they are attacked, they will be flown home. They do not need your money. I can't visit until the contract is finished. Scammers pretending to be doctors will often say that they're working overseas for 3 months and they can't come home till the contract is finished. Well, yes, doctors do sign contracts. The truth is, scammers pretending to be doctors often say this so that they can continue a relationship online only with the victim, getting closer to the victim during this time and emotionally manipulating them over the weeks or months and slowly asking for things like money or iTunes cards. The truth is, the scammer will tell you that they're going to see you in just 2 weeks, in just 1 week, in just 5 days. Meanwhile, the 3 months you've been talking to the scammer as a fake doctor, They've already asked you probably for iTunes cards and other goods. Real doctors who are working overseas generally are not on social media dating sites talking to random men and women or looking for love. They're busy. They're taking care of sick people and taking care of people in countries where their medical treatment has been neglected for many years. They're not sitting online talking to you, and real doctors will never ask you for money. Another very popular excuse scammers use, whether they're oil rig workers, military men, doctors, or engineers, or just regular businessmen: honey, I've been robbed while on the way to the airport. Oftentimes, scammers will be on their way to the airport to fly home or to come and see you when in the taxi they were robbed at gunpoint or they were stabbed and all of their documents and money is missing. The truth is, this is an excuse to try to get you to send more money or to emotionally manipulate you into thinking that your loved one has been hurt. Oftentimes, they'll say they've been robbed on their way to the airport, on their way to that big business meeting, and they'll claim that all the documents have been stolen. Keep in mind that while robberies do happen in the world, this is a scammer's way of setting you up to try and get money from you. Oftentimes, after they've been robbed, they'll claim they need to go to the hospital. Their important documents have been stolen, or their money has been stolen and their credit cards, and they have nowhere to go. Oftentimes, after they've been robbed, they'll say their credit card's been stolen and they can't pay for their hotel room. Can you help pay for the hotel room? Keep in mind, these are just a few excuses that scammers using fake profiles claim happen to them when asking for money. While there are tons of other excuses that they use, these are just a few basic ones and a few red flags you need to watch out for when speaking to somebody online. And keep in mind, soldiers, doctors, engineers, businessmen, oil rig workers and engineers, all of these people are very busy. They don't have time to sit there and talk to you for hours on end, or to ask you to download Hangouts or Kik or Viber or another chat app. These are busy people. If you're speaking to somebody online and they work in this profession, while not all of them are fake, the majority are, and see it as a big red flag if suddenly a soldier from out of nowhere starts to message you on social media or on a dating site. Check for the red flags, and when in doubt, block them. These are just a few basic steps to help keep you safe. Thanks for listening. If you need help, you can find us on Facebook under Scamming Scammers Action. Thanks. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.